Watch and burn.
Hey everyone, so tonight I wanted to discuss Alec Empire's Intelligence and Sacrifice. And this initially going in, this was one of my early favorites from Alec Empire because there was more form and more structure to this album. But after this, he would release Futurist, which to me is the more superior of the two, more, I suppose, guitar focused or traditional song focused solo releases from Empire. I loved this record when I was younger, but as it stands now, I feel like it starts off really strong, but then somewhere around the midpoint, at least as far as the first part of the album or disc one, depending on the release you're listening to, whether it's a physical copy of the CD or if you're listening to it digitally on Spotify, they're all lumped together as it's like one 20 or so track album. I found by track 6, the first disc, it sort of loses a lot of its energy. It still has that chaotic vibe, of course, because it's Empire and he knows what he's doing. But I found for a record that starts off so ferocious and so fast and so focused that it does seem to sort of lose something by the midway point from disc one. And that kind of sucks because I love the first handful of songs from this record. And then, like I said, the second half of the first disc, I just don't connect with them the same way. I found that they lost a lot of that energy and that sort of that vital sense of purpose that the first half of the record had. Now, I will say after this, of course, he released The Futurist, which is perfect. I love that record, and so maybe I'm biased. I automatically compare the two because I've always compared the two just by default. But I do find that The Futurist had more form and it saw the vision through, whereas this sort of changed, and perhaps this was written over a longer span of time or something. I don't know. And that's why the songs sort of pick up steam and then lose steam. And I'm sure it's all done on purpose because Empire's a brilliant guy. But I just don't love where this record goes. And I really don't like the second half, as in the last 10 tracks, or the second disc. I just don't dig the vibe. I find them they're too noise-based. And I don't know. Something about them, they're too digital, I suppose. Whereas I was really excited to find that this was more of a traditionally fast and thrashy record with the first disc. The second disc, it kind of felt, I don't know, tacked on, I suppose. I don't want to say they're leftovers because he's smarter than that. And even his noise-based, more senselessly chaotic digital noise-based stuff has more purpose than that. But it just didn't click with me. And one of the coolest things about this, though, is back when I was a kid, I used to order a lot from DHR directly. And this is the one that I managed to keep. This is the order sheet from the first, how many are there? All in, there's 36 DHR records on here. And this is how it used to be done. And the way it worked back then, too, was you had to pay, it was $2.40 per shipping per 12-inch LP. CDs were $1.25. And I remember I accidentally used to send these off because I was really young. And I can't remember who it was. Somebody said you should have just photocopied it. You could have kept them. And I could have made a collage out of all of them. Because this, unfortunately, is the only one I have. And this is the one that I got with Intelligence and Sacrifice. And I'm glad I kept it because it's cool to have these because as of 2022, this is done. Everything's done digitally now. And I like that better myself because you don't have to send the request form off, wait for it to get there, wait for them to process it, and then wait for them to send back the records you ordered. You can just go to their website or wherever and order them straight and they send them out. I do like that a lot more. I will argue that there was something special about filling these forms out. There was maybe more of a sense of a personal connection to everything that I think we've since really lost. But I don't suppose that matters because what's done is done, so who cares? But yeah, I don't know. This record, I love the artwork. I love the paper it's printed on. I love the design. I love the feel. And I really respect the person who wrote this album. Alec Empire is brilliant, and he's been brilliant for a long time, and he has a massive discography, and he hasn't really missed with any of them if you kind of get the vibe of each record and how sometimes from record to record or release to release, the focus will be so different that the albums can seem kind of jarring or sort of like underwhelming. But that's never been the case with me. I've always felt that everything he did was he tackled so many different types of music and so many styles, and he used so many different chunks of hardware and software to write each individual release that, I mean, the man's a genius. And I know I'm sort of biased because I love the Atari Teenage Riot, but I do really feel like Alec Empire has a lot to offer, and he always has, and he most likely always will. So yeah, look, I'm going to go. So thank you so much for sitting with me while I discussed Alec Empire's Intelligence and Sacrifice. If you like this review, don't forget to do something nice for somebody. And have a good night. I'll see you guys soon. I just wanted to say thank you for making it through the entire video. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to remind everyone one more time, even though I've probably already done this in the video that you just watched, to please click the like button as well as the subscribe button because it helps this channel grow. And thank you for hitting like and subscribe. And we will see you guys really soon.